Hello, I am María Ferriol. Today I am presenting to you a project idea for students in their second year of primary school, around 7 and 8 years old. The main objectives are to learn about ecosystems while improving their oral English competence and confidence. This project has an engagement element for students, the presence of an alien. The ones that appear now on the screen are the specific competencies and basic knowledge we want to achieve with this project in natural science subject. The ones that appear on the screen are the specific competencies and basic knowledge we want to achieve with this project in English subject. My students have a good level of English. Most of them come from different countries, bilingual preschool or kindergarten, or their parents are interested in their children's learning different languages. That is because at this school we place a high value in multilingualism and learning English for communication, which is why we often create bilingual projects just like this one. Even though they have good English competencies for their age and good management of vocabulary, they find it difficult to structure complex sentences in a logical order and seem to be confident when it comes to speaking about themselves. They struggle to understand concepts in an integrated manner, not just as isolated words. For example, they can understand what an oceanic system is and what a dolphin is, but they cannot link concepts. The students in this class are very active, curious and creative. They love to learn, although sometimes they may stray from the subject to explore other topics or debate issues. With this information and objectives clear, I already had an idea of what I wanted the final project to be like. With this prompt, I asked ChatGPT to give me a second point of view for having another perspective of what to add or subtract from my project. I adopted some ideas. Moreover, I want to justify some changes I finally made to AI's suggestion. For creating the digital comic, I investigated myself more tools where it could be done. My favorite was Book Creator because it allowed all the classmates to be editing the same shared comic, working together to create a final work that acted as a whole to send to the alien. This was also really easy to use and creative as it allows them to film themselves, write, draw, paint, design and develop a creative final comic. I decided to focus on one aspect to create a project with a specific purpose and objectives achieved. Asking them for too much work will achieve just an overload in their working memory and they will not learn the concepts in that depth. If the student with the glasses is the only one who talks all the time, then the rest of the classmates will be passive. Pedagogically, I consider it would be a better idea if they all talk, asking questions to the student with the glasses. This way, they'll feel engaged and learn. I will help them with a template set of questions to ask, in which they will have the question structures and the main vocabulary to ask. When revising the drawings of the ecosystems on the board, I will be guiding, but the main purpose is not that the teacher is talking and the students passive, but to achieve a dynamic in which we all observe the images and identify what we are seeing, also linking concepts. That's what we will do when revising the ecosystems orally on the blackboard. I consider that on the aliens video, the instructions and the activities should be more clear and scheduled, because pedagogically, students need them to understand the purpose of what they have to do. Here you have the script of what Ali says in the video, that will also be given to the students. As they will have the whole book available for them, what we will do is to read it all together in class before sending it to the alien. Each student will read something. Before starting with the planned activities, the teacher will ask several initial questions to get information about their prior knowledge. In the first activity, we will make use of virtual classes. I have prepared 5 different pictures of ecosystems. The idea is that for each ecosystem, there will be a student who will be watching it through the glasses. The role of the rest of the classmates is to ask questions following the sample sheets to discover the elements of each ecosystem. With the students' direct answers, they will draw their own ecosystem with all the required elements. They will take turns, one student per ecosystem, and in case the student needs some help, one volunteer will help him to answer the question. When the 5 ecosystems have been drawn, we will have a look at the original pictures on the board and revise the drawings. This revision will be active. The teacher will be a guide explaining facts that the crocodile lives both in water and on land. This way, all students will help to identify the elements of an ecosystem and reflect about why it's important for each living being to live in their ecosystem. This is an example of how the final sheet should look like. Then, we will watch a video of a song about ecosystems all together. This way, we insist on the idea and present the content in a different way. What we are doing is trying to engage all the students by presenting the same idea in different activities. At this point, the teacher will tell them an alien named Ali has sent her a video for them. In the video, the alien said that she is interested in mutant people from the Earth and also learning about this planet. The idea is that they feel motivated to explain to her what they have just learned about Earth, the ecosystems, as well as to send her a video presenting themselves. Hello, I am Ali, an alien.
I am sending you this video because I need your help. I am really curious about the Earth planet. Can you tell me something about it? My dream is to meet some humans someday. I think you are so interesting. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye humans. I hope you have a good day.
They will be asked to follow the given speaking sheet to film themselves at home, presenting themselves and giving some information to her, such as the time, the date, the weather.
Hello Ali, I am Maria. I am 18 years old. Today is Wednesday. Now it's 4:30. The weather is warm. My favorite ecosystem is the terrestrial ecosystem because I like to go to the mountains to hike with my parents. One thing I like about the Earth is the rain. One thing I don't like about the Earth is that humans cannot fly by themselves. One question I want to ask you is, what activity do you like to do with your family? Thank you for watching, Ali. Goodbye.
The teacher will create a share book in Book Creator and add comic templates. The classroom will be divided into 4 groups with an ecosystem assigned. Now their mission will be to create a comic for Ali to understand the Earth in a funnier way. They will make use of the structures in the initial templates to explain the ecosystem and its elements. If we take a look at this app, it is really easy to use. They can add text, audios, images, and speech bubbles. This book will be available to all students as they can get in with a code I will provide. This is an example of how the final product of an ecosystem should look like. When finished, I will ask the students to read all together the whole book before sending it to the alien. All of them will read something. This way, they will go over all the content again. I use the Picgraph framework for showing in a visual way the value of each of the digital tools proposed. We can see that in this activity there is a multiple and mixed use of technology. From a pedagogical point of view, combining different tools and different approaches within a single project, such as having moments when they are more active and others that they are more passive, helps keep students focused and engaged in the tasks. Following the competencies and basic knowledge I selected as my purpose to gain or improve during this project, I developed a rubric I will use to evaluate students' performance and final work. It is important to say I will take the ecosystem's draw sheets to revise it, both for evaluating purpose and so the student can use it to study. Moreover, I will evaluate their participation by observation, taking notes during classroom time. As well, I will take a look at the final comics and receive feedback about the group work through a questionnaire. I check the safety of the tools the students will be using during this task on Common Sense, a program that has the objectives of assessing tool safety over an objective criteria. Book Creator was ranked as 92% secure. MetaQuest, used for virtual classes, was considered warning. It does have a privacy policy, but it is not recommended by the way Common Sense. That's why they will make use over my supervision, and I made sure the use they do of it is secure and useful for their learning. One relevant tension we can see in this project is the balance between engagement and distraction through technology. The use of tools such as Book Creator and virtual classes motivate students to be creative and interact with the content. However, there is a risk of students focusing more on technology than on ecosystems. Here, the role of the teacher is crucial. She must use the tools to favor meaningful learning by observing their behavior and convey her enthusiasm for the topic. Another tension we can observe is the balance that must be achieved between teacher guidance and student autonomy. This project aims to create a dynamic that encourages learning through independent, group, and guided activities. It is important to create a classroom environment that allows for the development of all 3 types of work equally. The aim is to encourage the children to switch between different activities. This is achieved at the moments when the children are more receptive, the ecosystem zone and Alice video. Both serve as transitors between activities and as introducers to them. Here you have the communication address I will send to families before starting with the project. While reluctant, I consider the fact that each parent will have a different view over technological use. I took into account it will be useful if they feel they can trust me and contact me if any doubt or concern come to their minds. This is both for improving as a teacher of the individual children and for them to be calm and informed of what the children will be doing at school. Then I use the ACAD framework to identify the elements I will be using in my teaching learning design. Here you have the elements I will be taking advantage of during virtual classes activities, including the initial reflection, the drawings moment, and the initial review altogether.
Here you have the elements I will be taking advantage of during the Aliens activities, including Alice video, comic development, and oral presentation of themselves in video format.
I selected the 4 more important concepts that we have explored during this course to explain the relevance I believe they will have in our future practice as teachers. This is the definition of PICRAT concept I found on EdTextbook website. This tool will be useful for me as a future teacher because it enables us to evaluate the methodologies used, providing an outline of how to utilize technology and how it relates to students. Observing and understanding a student's personal learning environment allows us to adapt our lessons for them to be more personalized. Moreover, help us to make any adaptations or incorporations to theirs to achieve an effective learning environment for them. Virtual classes is a huge advancement that we can use in education, and it allows us to take students to places they will never go another way and experience interactive activities in an engaging way. I like Padlet because all students can visually see the work they have done together, constructing ideas and adding information to a chart diagram. Later on, I selected 3 of the 6 areas of the competence framework that I consider more relevant during this course. With this analysis, I will evaluate the teaching competencies I gained on this subject, ICT. The first area I selected is professional engagement. We have learned how to be empathetic and open-minded when talking to parents as well as to our colleagues. With the technocrats, we have learned to communicate in a way that allows us to reach agreements and support one another in getting the work together. Listen to ideas and reflecting with our groupmates, as well as listening to other group presentation, showed us that working as a team achieves a more favorable and inclusive result for the pupils. Receiving and giving feedback has turned our class into a community based on mutual support, something really useful when it comes to working as a teacher. On the other hand, I also discovered the great benefits of reading articles and comments online from other teachers or even parents, which can help me understand things and aspects from a more direct perspective. When designing the activities we carried out during this course, I have been reading and listening to them via the internet. I would also like to highlight the knowledge we have gained about digital resources. We have learned to select the digital tools we use, taking into account their ethical implications, security, and how we intend to use them. We also use pre-existing tools, which we explore and customize to suit our needs while following a guide. For example, when assessing tasks using ACAD or drawing on explanations from different personas to develop our idea of family and their view of technology. We learn where to find information to ensure that our and children's use of technology is appropriate, ethical, and safe, relying on trustful resources with a sound foundation. Facilitating learning's digital competence is an area that has been really present in our learning process during this course. Linda has provided us several links with additional information for every task we have done. This was a really good way to teach us by observation the importance and impact this has because it expands your knowledge and gives you a clear idea of the topics. As we had to almost always work in groups and class time was not enough to finish the task, we had to communicate with the members of our group by digital tools. We discovered, for example, the questionnaires of WhatsApp really useful for organizing the work we had to complete. By reading and reflecting, we gain the vision of what it is to make a responsible and secure use of the internet, which is crucial for helping children develop healthy digital habits. I believe I deserve a good mark or around an 8, because I put so much effort in constructing a project that is pedagogically thought and current. My purpose on this project was to show you I have earned the required competencies of this course, and I reflected about how to use them in my future as a primary teacher. I believe the most challenging role I undertook was when I was starting doing task 1. I was very nervous to present our work to the classroom as we also didn't know how we would be doing it. We were standing still at one place in the classroom and our classmates were listening in turns to our presentation. We had such a pressure, but the thing that calmed me down was that I was with my teammate Teresa. AI has helped me in carrying out this project. I already had an idea, but AI helped me by adding more elements to this idea, by giving me more concepts to develop and also include in the final project. I also use AI to create images because I feel it can create the images that particularly match my ideas. That has made them feel more useful and adaptive.